Just a couple of declarations first. So, despite being BT, I am actually a Suffolk boy. So I was born within 5 miles of here, actually. So I haven't actually gone too far, and it's a delight to live, eat, and drink in Suffolk. So for those of you in the food industry, you have my thanks. Although not so strong today, because I enjoyed 2 pints of beer last night, and for some reason I have the mother of all hangovers today, which is some divine injustice, I think. Okay, so I thought, what do I tell a group of people who are in the food business about what we do at Adastral Park and what BT's interested in? And of course, most of you will have a relationship or an opinion of us as a company. So I'll cover it from my perspective a little bit. Tiny amount of history maybe to begin with, because BT's been large in this area for over 40 years now. I think a year and a half ago we had the 40-year celebrations of the Queen opening Adastral Park, but in fact it had been running for 5 years before that. And it's actually been in the business of changing the world itself. So things that have come out of Adastral, which really mean out of Suffolk, that we all take for granted and actually our lives and the world are built on now, things like single mode optical fibre, incredibly specific and interesting technology doing a really fundamental job, but as a conversation topic incredibly boring. So just to note that we didn't invent it, but we pioneered it, and it does run all of our lives right now. Another one in a similar vein, the first time a mobile phone connected to the internet was in 1999. Now, given my great age, that seems like yesterday. It's actually not that long ago, but if you think about where the world would be now if we'd never connected mobile phones to the internet. They're not phones anymore, they're computers, we all rely on them, our world is driven by them. The first time that happened was over the road in Adastral Park. So these are critical things that are happening. Slightly more up to date, we've just as a company announced ultra-fast broadband. We're all struggling to get our heads around where's super fast, I know, and particularly in the food and farming industry, I'll come on to that. But we've announced ultra-fast, so this is speeds up to 300 megs for 20 million homes in the UK by 2020. At the point in time that our CEO Gavin was announcing this to the city, we were still scratching our heads in the research department trying to work out how on earth we actually do this. We told him it was technically possible because we'd done the theory, we hadn't delivered the technology, so we didn't know for certain that we would hit those numbers. We know now that we will because we've got it in trials around the country. We'll use the same tech to get better service for some of the people who have problems with just ordinary broadband, so I'll come back to that in a minute. But there's a Chinese connection there, so when we do things, we are not a supplier of our own technology, so we need partners and suppliers, and of course one of our large suppliers is Huawei. They are Chinese, they are with us up at Adastral Park. In fact, they're with us along with now 94 other companies, so we've been growing a high-tech cluster that's driving value in the east of England and driving innovation both into our company but out into the world generally. So we're quite pleased with the success of that cluster. Just, have I gone on for too long yet?
No.
Are you sure?
Well,
I'll be quick.
a couple more.
Because I'm renowned for boring for England once I start, so you must stop me. And if you shut your eyes, I'll take that as a view that you'd like me to stop. So links to food. So what is it we're doing in the food space? Well, on the face of it, not very much. But the world is digitising fast, and we're beginning to instrument just about everything that we do, whether it's through literally carrying our phones around with us so that Google knows where you are on what road and at what speed you're travelling, or whether it's a blood pressure meter that you wear on your arm, or whether it's an air quality meter or a soil temperature meter or humidity meter. We are instrumenting the world, so the Internet of Things will start connecting everything. So we've been busy in places like Milton Keynes, where Smart Milton Keynes or MK Smart is attempting to manage the city in a far more efficient way because they will get insight from the data that they can collect about the way that the city is running. And of course it's more than just cities, it allows you to instrument your supply chain, to run your logistics so you can understand where your goods and services are. And of course farms as well. Why not farms? We've actually just been busily instrumenting up chicken sheds, so this is now a bit of a surprise to me. I thought I'd never say this, but we now have a connected set of farms down in Mole Valley in the West Country where we've been looking at the behaviour, temperature, movement of chickens, giving data straight back to the farmers about how exactly their chickens behave on a 24/7 basis. So typically they've known things about points in time, but now they have a complete view, so they can start to manage their chickens. So clearly our industry is beginning to touch the industries that we always thought were going to be too far away from us. I'll cut to the end really. We know the pace of change is fast. I mentioned mobile phones and only being 16 years ago. Seems like a long time ago, but actually the way that it has changed has been fast. Moving forward, we see the pace of change to be speeding up. So the Internet of Things will arrive, people will be connecting things. We know that has a problem, particularly if you are in a remote location that, for a whole range of really valid technical reasons, but entirely of no interest at all to the end user, it's difficult for you to get broadband. So we are working quite hard. It's probably the single biggest focus of the research team at the moment, is how do we solve the problems to allow the whole world to connect to the digital revolution that we are in the middle of. I think, just on China, last thought on China. We're interested in innovation from around the world, so 2 of my team are permanently based in China. So we will work with Chinese companies. I was in China 2 weeks ago out in Beijing lecturing at the university, poor chaps. So we are very keen on the relationships that you're talking about here today, because that's part of our core business. I will stop at that.
Thank you, Kevin, very much.